and welcome to Law Live, episode 31, a special bonus episode that we put together because the legendary Hayder Shkara from Justice Family Lawyers and Mr. Darren Mort, Barrister-at-Law, who is tuning in all the way from Tinseltown, Los Angeles. We've put together a special Cinema for a Cause to celebrate and raise much needed funds for the To Be Loved network with a special screening of Tommy on the 19th of June, 6 p.m. at the Dendy Cinema in Newtown. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my special guests, Mr. Hayder Shkara and Darren Mort, here to talk about all things Cinema for a Cause. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, Cullen.
I'm feeling 10 out of 10, Cullen. Good to be here.
10 out of 10. Oh, my goodness. I'm thinking Spinal Tap, maybe 11. Let's turn it to 11, Hayder.
11. I love that.
If
I
you
love
get
that.
ticket sales after this, I'll be at 12.
Oh, absolutely. And how is Tinseltown? How is Los Angeles going for you, Darren? What's happening?
Well, just make this quick because Tom Cruise is just waiting outside. Apparently he wants to cast me in the next Mission Impossible movie, you know. But I'm supposed to keep it under wraps a bit, you know. So
I thought he was trying to get a part in the Tommy sequel.
He could actually. Tom by name, Tom by nature. Yeah. Look, LA is going fantastic. It's really warm here. I hate to rub it in to you guys. I know what it's like in Sydney and Melbourne. When I left Melbourne, it was freezing as always. But here's quite lovely, sunny, and LA's just got the vibe, hasn't it? It's just a vibey sort of place.
It is a very vibey sort of place, I must say. And Hayder, how are things on your side, sir? What's been happening?
Things are awesome. The law firms are doing well. Really happy with how everything's going, gearing up for the end of the financial year. And I'm hoping to get, this Cinema for a Cause event to be the premier event for especially for the family law industry, but for the legal industry of 2023. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
Look, my goodness.
I should say, and look, I'm excited that Haydar's excited because I think it's really fantastic to be able to do this. But one of the reasons, or a major reason I'm here in Los Angeles is because I'm doing a big shake hand deal with the head of courts over here across America because Tommy is being included in their Families in Transition program through the courts across the United States. So judges will be able to order parents watch Tommy. And so Tommy is a really, really important resource tool, which has been adopted by the Americans and hopefully soon the Australians. But I know it's being used by psychologists, social scientists, lawyers, some judges already, mediators. And it's great that you guys up in Sydney, Cullen and Hayder, are putting this event together because it'll give people a real opportunity to see the value of Tommy in their practice, being able to use it, and importantly, being able to think outside the usual square us lawyers are stuck in. Because the more and more I do family law, the more I realise the answer isn't in the court, it's outside of the court. And if we can use films like Tommy and getting people supporting Tommy, particularly this event coming up, I'm really excited about it, Cullen and Hayder. So, yeah.
No, I really appreciate that there, Darren. And Hayder, we are going to make it. It is bigger than Ben-Hur, and probably bigger than a lot of conferences in law going on at the moment. So we want to make it spectacular. It's 12:37, gentlemen. I would recommend anyone, any questions about the event or any questions for these two behemoths, put them in the comments. But I've got the link in here as well in LinkedIn. If anyone wants to buy a ticket, put it in there. A little bit of a plug now. Let's talk about what is To Be Loved, the charity there, Darren. Let people know what it means to be loved.
Yeah, sure. So we're a registered charity. No one there receives any money for the work they do. It's totally pro bono. Any monies paid to Be Loved are tax deductible because we have full DGI status. The charity itself was set up, co-founded by me and Nancy Bassett, to produce resources to help children navigate family violence and parental separation. So some of the resources we have on hand are children's books. We have Tommy the film. We're in pre-production for another film and book. And we're also developing an app for children. And these all cost money. We don't get any government funding, unfortunately. And so we rely on the generosity of people like yourselves and people who come along to these events to provide some, what we can in order that we can advance the children's best interest by using those funds. So it's really important. It's really important at the ground level. And no one knows better than people in our industry, in the family court, whatever field you're in, whether it's social scientist, lawyer, psychologist, financier, whatever, no one knows more what children need in our jurisdiction. And they really need our help, because they're the gold nuggets. I mean, you're just a little beautiful girl, Cullen, and so
a little boy, little Benji.
Little boy. I'm confusing that because you post because of Emma.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. He's just as cute as a little girl for sure.
Yeah, but you've got a little boy now, and that's where the real nuggets are. With little kids, nurturing them through, and they're coming into a different world than we were brought up in. So it's important to be able to throw those resources at kids when they need them, to assist them psychologically, emotionally, physically. So that's why the charity is so important.
No, it's cogent insights there, Darren. And I know yourself and Hayder care deeply about children. And I think, Hayder, you've called them the silent voice in our conversations. What does that mean in the family law, which is very much breaking up the family law? What does that mean when children are considered like the silent voice?
Well, in all matters, I think you've got to take a complete child-focused approach. And as a solicitor, that can sometimes be quite difficult, because ultimately your responsibility is to the court and to your clients. And that can sometimes get you a little bit carried away. And what we find in the family law world is, you get family lawyers that get carried away with their arguments for their client and try and run particular arguments because that's what the client wants, or that's what the client thinks is going to be best for them. But it might not be something that's best for the child. It might not be a good thing for a child to spend 2 hours in a car trip every 3 days or whatever it is, in order to spend time with a particular parent, where just because that parent feels like that's what they're entitled to. So things like that is things that frequently come up on a day-to-day in our practice. And being able to break through that and take a very child-focused approach is something that you have to be mindful of, and you have to be constantly reminded about. That's what I think. I think it's not good enough to be like, I take a child-focused approach. That's great. Yep. And then, you don't really think about it for the next week, 6 weeks, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is. It's a constant reminder, because you can get it. It's very easy to get caught up with what your client wants all the time and not to think about a child-focused approach. And that's why putting on an event like this is important to me, because it's going to give everybody that ability to kind of reset and re-anchor themselves to what they really want, what they're trying to ultimately achieve, which is to get a child-focused outcome. So that's what I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it kind of stirs up a few emotions for the people that are there, and it allows them to re-anchor themselves to their fundamental principles, which they themselves want to align themselves to. So that's why I'm super excited for June 19th. My whole team's going to be attending. It's not optional; it's compulsory, because, like I said, everybody needs a reminder. Everyone needs to kind of realign themselves to their fundamentals. So we're going to be there. I'm excited. The guest list is going to be amazing. And
it's growing. There's been so much support for this event. Join the bandwagon, guys. Join the bandwagon. I've got the dates on there. As Hayder said, it's Monday, 19th of June at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Dendy Cinemas, Newtown. Get in there. Tickets are $55. Great cause, tax deductible. Mingle with fellow, not only lawyers, barristers. There'll be some people from the finance industry that are coming from my side. So I think it's going to be an event to remember for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
They had one in Melbourne recently, Cullen and Hayder. I don't know whether you know about it. through C Family Law, who were aligned with us like you guys are, which we're very grateful for. And it was such a great night. It was so successful. They had a Q&A afterwards. They had drinks, and it was a real meeting of minds of people from different disciplines, sharing a common goal to advance children's best interests. And it was a really superb night, and I've got no doubt, particularly being in Sydney, it's going to be even bigger and better. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Especially in Sydney, where professionals are always time pressed, to be able to maybe switch off or be able to come to events like this, not only give back and mingle for a great cause. I think it's a fantastic initiative. What can people expect? Because I don't think people may not be familiar with your short film, award-winning film, Tommy, there, Darren, or that you're both an author, where the book came from, and a director. Can you tell us more about Tommy, maybe in book form, and how it evolved to the movie and where it is now and what we're premiering at the event?
Yeah, sure. Look, short form, Tommy came out of my involvement with the Domestic Violence Task Force Committee, reporting to the reporting to the Royal Commission on Family Violence. And we founded this charity on the basis of using it as a vehicle for prevention, rather than treating people who have been through victims of family violence and the like. Actually using it as a preventative measure and as a educative measure. So I wrote the book Tommy. That emanated from a court case I did many years ago. A little boy who used to disassociate and see kangaroos. I thought a tiger would be a good option for Tommy. So that's how the book came about. Justice Altobelli was pretty important in terms of the topic, being contact changeovers, which are very prolific in our work field in terms of issues. And soon after that, after the book was launched in Parliament House in Victoria, I'd written the film script with another mate called Klassen, and we started to produce the film and shot it in, I think it was in about June or July 2019. COVID hit, of course. But look, I can tell you, despite COVID hitting, it's been in 28 international film festivals. It's won 12 Best Film Awards. It's been in qualifying events for BAFTA and the Academy Awards. And as I said before, it's now going to take part in a FIT program in America, which is just amazing, which on my calculations, up to 7 million people will see this film a year. So I'm really blessed that I had such a good experience with the film, that it had such a high caliber as far as its production values, its cast. We actually shot it, guys, as you know, on a submarine in Western Port Bay.
It's incredible.
We hired a submarine out for a couple of days to shoot it. We had to get on a boat, and all 30 of us trudge out to this submarine sitting in the middle of the bay in Victoria. But it was just incredible. It was just an incredible experience. So, so it packs a lot of clout, this film, and it sends a lot of messages which are very highly nuanced, and family lawyers and social scientists and parents will get it when they see it. But it's there to help us not forget, to help remind us that as parents, we can do better. Because with your son, Cullen, he didn't pop out with an instruction manual.
No, I was actually, when I actually left the hospital, I actually whispered to Madam, my wife, I said, "Is it legal that we're leaving the hospital? I have no idea what we're doing." It was so funny. It was one of those really surreal moments.
It's weird, and you put the baby in the capsule, and you're both in the front, and you go in the front. What do we do now? What do we do now?
Literally, it was like that. It was like that.
It's huge, but he's such a cute little guy, and he's lucky he's got you guys as parents. But we can always learn. Every time I watch Tommy, I've seen it hundreds of times. It still triggers me, and I still learn stuff from it, like nuanced stuff. But you do learn, So I'm very excited about presenting it, and particularly in Sydney.
Oh, it's exciting. And I think Hayder and his team, I don't think Hayder's seen the film. They're going to really enjoy it. And so is everyone else who's coming as well. I think it's, we can all walk away illumined. And I remember the first time I saw it in 2019, Darren, I was deeply moved by it because I think I've lived a very charmed life and had a great family and hadn't experienced what Tommy goes through, which so many children go through with their families, and to see what happens in the film and the weaponization of children, I think it was harrowing. And I was deeply affected when I watched it. I'd like to get your thoughts on, should obviously you do it in the States, would you be able to do the same thing in Australia and have it as mandatory watching as well there, Darren? Is that the goal?
I'm hoping to. And at the moment, myself and a psychologist are developing a mediation program with a spin to help people, and we're going to use Tommy during that process. It came about quite oddly, nothing to do with family law, as a result of me having an arthroscopy years ago. One of my mates was doing the operation, and before he saw me, I got shuttled into this room and I had to watch this anime in terms of an operation, what they do with your knee. And then after I watched that, I was then ushered into his office, and we went through the process and yada yada. But I thought, what a wonderful way to introduce people to images, which are so compelling because you remember images. I mean, if I said to the both of you, "What's your favourite film?" as soon as I say that magic sentence, automatically your mind goes to, "Oh yeah, that's the film. I always remember that film." And you remember that film because the story, the acting, how it triggered your emotions, what you brought away with it, how you thought about that movie days after the movie, what you shared with other people about that movie, the questions that movie posed for you. And Tommy does the same thing. People walk away, they see those images, they remember that little child barreling the camera, and it makes an impact. You know, I've had men who are clients who have broken down in tears watching it, you know. So I'm not sort of here to give myself a pat on the back. I'm here to say I'm very fortunate to have produced a film that has made such an impact in an environment where it's very much needed for children. And that's the whole import, because, you know, it takes more than one child to raise a village. And the success of this film has been as a result of people like you guys putting yourself out, giving me support, a whole array of people who have been very generous, because we're all here because we're all of the same mindset in terms of putting children first. And that's really important. I know that's a big part of Hayder's practice as a lawyer too. So it's very important.
No, very well said. And I'm actually trying for the first time to see if we can get, here we go. Bit of a presentation on the Tommy trailer. I thought would be really nice for everyone to see.
Oh, lovely.
There we go.
Oh, this is really good quality.
Is that
the submarine there?
That's the submarine you were talking about?
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. So I think we've all got a lot to look forward to when the event actually happens there, gents. It'll be very, very good. Let me see if I can get us back there. So that's just a snippet of some of the events that unfold. And you really went to the effort to go to a submarine to film that there, Darren. That's actually a live submarine.
It's actually a live submarine. I couldn't believe it's a maritime museum. And I said to the director at the time, because originally Tommy was going to be a scene, I had this vision of a scene at Saving Private Ryan where Tommy's in a boat with the tiger and they're running to shore. And then all these bullets and whatever happening. And then the director said to me, "Have you ever thought about doing it on a submarine?" And I said, "Well, we haven't got the budget of the Avengers, so no, I haven't." And he said, "No, leave it with me." Anyhow, left it with him. The submarine turns out to be free. The only thing we all had to sign up is membership of the Maritime Museum, which cost us all $15 each. and the most expensive thing was getting the boat out there. So it was a real lesson to me to ask and you shall find, but he did a great job in sourcing that, because it absolutely depicts in the movie, and without giving much away, the feeling of the child's isolation during the parental separation and his lack of a voice. So it was a fantastic way to present that.
And I think it's important. You see it all the time too there, Hayder, in family law. And a lot of my commercial legal clients who are fantastic, when we talk about some of my other colleagues in family law, they don't actually see some of the things that happen. No one goes out to, we talked about it before, weaponize their children or have what happens to Tommy in the movie happen. What are you seeing in, obviously, the other side and your client conversations? Are you trying to put the child first in those conversations, or just let them think this is what's happening to them?
Yeah, look, it's most of the times your clients don't think that they're bad people.
No,
they just think they're parents. They think they're trying to get on with, their parenting life and trying to do what's best for their kids. That's, almost every single parent is like that. And, Darren's been doing this a lot longer than I have, but I think he would say the same thing, that most parents who are, that are in court or, going through this, they actually think that they're doing the right thing, and as a result, they can be sometimes quite convincing and convince their lawyers that they're doing the right thing as well. And that's why, like I said, we have to re-anchor ourselves and to remember that even though our clients think they're doing the right thing, intention sometimes is just not good enough. It's actually the result of actions that's going to have an impact on kids and impact on people around them. And so that's why, while someone might have the absolute best intentions, which most clients do, most parents have the absolute best intentions for their kids, there's another element. It's not good enough, just have good intentions. There's a whole other element, and that is, what are the practical effects here to the children? What are they actually going through? What are they experiencing? What's their point of view? How are they perceiving your intentions? And that's why, not many of us can get into the eyes of a child.
No,
it's
of course.
hard for us to comprehend. And so what Darren's done is he's given us that POV into the perspective of a child, and it will remind everyone, okay, I'm looking at it from a child's perspective and how a child views the world. And that's really what we need to kind of remember, because, we're all children once upon a time, but it's a bit hard to kind of figure out how we would react and perceive to certain things. So having that resource, which is that POV of a child's perspective, is not only unique, it's imperative to every good family law practitioner.
Yeah, our best weaponry, I'm putting that in a nice way, is exactly what Hayder says, and that is, unless there's a mental health issue involved, parents love their children, and
of course,
isn't necessarily what is best for the child and needs to be re-steered. And what Haydar's talking about in terms of listening to the child is so important. I mean, a really simple example is when a child falls over. And I've done it before because, they usually fall over on the road or shopping centre or something, and they've hurt themselves, they're crying. You go, oh, come on, you'll be right. Dad will take you home. Dad will get you a milkshake. You'll be right, But we shouldn't be doing that. We should be stopping for a minute and validating the fact that they've fallen over and they've hurt themselves. And yes, it would have hurt them. Ouch, But 9 times out of 10, parents just go, oh, come on, you'll be right. I'll get you a milkshake. Validate, stop, reframe, move on, And they're easy things to forget about because we lead such busy lives. But it's just simple things, and that's really simple compared to some of the stuff, Hayder and I see in the family court. But it's all about looking at things through a different lens, and maybe that lens should be the lens that the child uses. We need to step apart from our telescope and have a look what their telescope looks like.
Very well said. And it reminds me, I think John Edwards used to say that communicate, validate, appreciate. And I think those three things, can be applied here. And I think Mr. Rogers, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, used to say that children would have feelings, and we all, dismiss it as, just a little thing, like you said there, Darren. But to them, it's very big. And my wife said the same thing about Benji, because when I come home at 6:15, he's in a bit of a cranky phase, and he's crying, and he said, "Little body, big feelings." And I just love the way she framed that, because it's so true. Little body, big feelings.
I know. Yeah,
I love that.
And big vocal cords.
Oh my goodness. And when we were in the car the other day, I wound down the window because I'm a physics major. And I said, we need the sound to escape, because having the windows, like the sound just reverberates and it sounds 10 times louder. That boy has got some vocal cords, let me tell you.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, it's good that he is crying, because he knows by crying he gets attention. And as far as he's concerned, he deserves that attention,
Absolutely.
But the antithesis of that, of course, is I was talking to a expert pediatrician the other day, and I thought it was really interesting. The children at his age, at Benji's age, who were abused physically, shut down. So when someone is approaching them, they would cease their crying, because the aim is, the fight or flight. The aim is, because they can't run, their flight mechanism kicks in, and so they shut down and they're quiet as mice, because they think if they do vocalize, they might suffer harm. Now, we're talking about Benji's he's past a year now.
No, he's 4 months old, so he's still quite young.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh my God, I've just got this totally wrong, Cullen. I thought he was a year. There you go. God. Anyhow, what I'm saying is that kids, even up to that 9-month level, there's been a lot of studies in terms of how violence impacts on their brains, their release of cortisol and things of that nature. I mean, the research is just quite compelling. So you got a joyous little baby like Benji, who cries away because he needs comfort, or he needs a feed, or he needs his nappy changed. And you get other little kids who are in a violent household, who act instinctively, but quite the opposite to way Benji would act, being in a healthy emotional situation. So it's very interesting and very compelling. And things that we don't often think about as parents, and all this stuff's just coming out now. So it's really good education stuff, and hopefully when people come along to this night, they'll find out some stuff, particularly the stuff that they're doing in the United States with this Families in Transition program. It's quite compelling how they're doing it, how they're getting parents together, how they're saving people in terms of legal costs, still involving lawyers, because people need lawyers.
Of course.
Situations. They really do. It's no good getting rid of lawyers and say, oh, they cost too much money. They're a necessary part of the process. Good lawyers are worth a piece of gold in guiding people and helping them understand the process. But that's what this FIT program is about. It involves lawyers, it involves mediators, and it involves psychologists. And I hope to talk more about that at the Sydney event.
No, absolutely. And I put it up there. We've deliberately chosen a Monday, start of the week. Usually people associate Mondays with drudgery, but we thought, why not have an uplifting time on a Monday, 6 p.m., Dendy Cinema in Newtown. Lawyers are going, barristers, people in finance are going. I wanted to say, who should be coming to this event and what can they expect, gentlemen?
After you, Hayder, I've been doing a lot of talking.
Okay. Look, I think it's... Any type of solicitors, I think, should be welcome to the event. It is a networking event after all.
Yes.
Specifically, those that deal in the family law field, definitely invited. Any professionals that are associated as well to that area. If you're got some kind of connection to that area and you're interested in networking with lawyers,
Yes.
you know, if you happen to run specific services for lawyers that you feel like you could gain some kind of benefit by meeting more and more lawyers, definitely welcome to attend. As well as, you know, if you want a little bit of have a nice drink, have a relaxation with your colleagues, I think it'll be a really great time.
And I think it will be. And I think it will be. Anything else we're not talking about, gentlemen, that we want people to know, not only about the event, but Tommy, the To Be Loved Network, or any special projects that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, look, I just on the tail of what Hayder was just saying, I think a good thing about it is people will walk away with some knowledge about other resources that are out there, which are a lot more nuanced, that will be able to assist them with their family law work. And I think that's really important because as family lawyers, we don't have many resources. We know a lot about the law, but we don't know a lot about social science. We rely on family reports for that. So I think walking away with some extra resources in your kit bag is going to be important. As far as To Be Loved is concerned, we're working on Millie and a magic puppet show at the moment. That's going to be incredible. We've got an amazing director from Sydney who works with the Sydney Opera House. He's incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to Millie and a Magic Puppet Show. It's about child trauma. However, it's got a different spin than Tommy. And it focuses on the power of peer groups with children and the fact that parents can learn from their children as well as teaching their kids. They can learn lessons from their kids. And so that's going to be an amazing project. We've got a children's book being published in March next year with that through Wilkinson Publishing. And Wilkinson Publishing are also publishing a book of mine in August, which I'll be up in Sydney. I'll have to let you guys know, called Isla's Song, which is about international child abduction. So we've got a lot of things happening. And the more resources we produce, the better I feel, because that way the important messages are getting out there. However, we can't do it without your support, Cullen and Hayder, and people like you who are like-minded, and the people out there. And I mean, parents should come along. And even if you're not a lawyer working in the field or a social scientist, psychologist, financier, whatever, if you're a parent, come along, because I guarantee it will open your eyes.
Very well said there, gentlemen. Well, we'll wrap that up. I will let you go, and I'll do a little plug at the end. Thank you for joining us all the way from Los Angeles, Darren. Thank you for joining us from the sprawling offices of Justice Family Lawyers, Hayder. Thank you so much for joining the Law Live, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And if you would like to support Cinema for a Cause, Darren Mort's movie screening of Tommy, be sure to grab your tickets there in the show notes. Now, it's on Monday, the 19th of June, 6 to 9 p.m. At the Dendy Cinemas in Newtown. We'd love to see you there. Love to support a great cause. And thank you so much for joining Law Live today, where we interview legends of law every week. We come out every Wednesdays, and we'll upload this to Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts. Bye for now, everyone. Take care. Have a great Tuesday. And we'll come out with our interview with Roy Kim, which will be tomorrow.